to Brazil, oh Lord, for Millie. Millie gone to Brazil, oh Lord, for Millie. Winnie wire wrap round she waist, and there is a cut up she face. Winnie wire wrap round she waist, and there is a cut up she face. Millie gone to Brazil, oh Lord, for Millie. Millie gone to Brazil, oh Lord, poor Millie. Winnie wire wrap round she waist, and there is a cut up she face. Winnie wire wrap round she waist, and there is a cut up she face. See my little brown girl, call she for me, call she for me, call she for me. See my little brown girl, call she for me, 'cause I want to go home. See my little brown girl, call she for me, call she for me, call she for me. See my little brown girl, call she for me, 'cause I want to go home. And you may walk, and you may talk, and you will tell by my style and my fashion, by my high standing collar and my ties to multiply. I'm a dandy, I'm a dandy, I'm a dude. See my little brown girl, call she for me, call she for me, call she for me. See my little brown girl, call she for me, 'cause I want to go home. See my little brown girl, call she for me, call she for me, call she for me. See my little brown girl, call she for me, 'cause I want to go home. And you may walk, and you may talk, and you will tell by my style and my fashion, by my high standing collar and my ties to multiply. I'm a dandy, I'm a dandy, I'm a dude. I'm a dandy, I'm a dandy, I'm a dude. I'm a dandy, I'm a dandy, I'm a dude.
There is so much that we as Barbadians have to be proud of. There's so much about a small island that is world class. And I say it all the time. I believe we have more talent per square mile than any other place in the world. And I believe that is factual. We have produced persons of the highest order in culture, in academics, in sports, in every single facet. Other nations may have persons who are excellent in one area or the other. This country is indeed blessed. And so we want to celebrate that. Thank you to the police band for their excellent, excellent renditions. We're going to move swiftly on to our feature address, and we have someone who is very familiar, so I know that she would have been very forgiving in our adjustments because she is a Springer girl. And as such, she knows what it is like. At Springer, we do things on the fly, but they're always of quality, and they're always with sincerity of heart. And so it gives me great pleasure to invite our minister. Let me make sure that I give the accurate commendation. Minister in the Prime Minister's office with responsibility for our culture, our very own Senator, the Honorable Dr. Chantal Monroe Knight. Let us stand, ladies. And let us welcome, this gives you girls the opportunity to arise from your siesta. Yes, Shijeda and the person next to you. And so now, ladies, we will give a Springer Memorial welcome to our minister. Please give her a round of applause.
Thank you. Good morning to everyone. Please have your seats. Thank you so much. All protocol having been established, I do want to begin by saying to you, have no fear. I know normally when a minister comes to deliver a feature address, particularly in this context, a level of fear can, can occur. But to say to you that this morning I am going to be deliberately brief. I believe that everything that has been done here, every single thing that has been done here this morning thus far has been extremely meaningful and weighty. And therefore anything that I will say is just a really neat bow on a very already packaged good gift. Yeah? So I'm going to be brief. I want to say three things to you. My first thing, you know, very often in this society we always tend to focus on the negative sometimes. So that we speak to our educational system and we highlight everything that is, or we believe is not correct. So we champion the need for educational reform. We talk about the fact that our teachers are not like the teachers of the past. We talk about the lost generation of youth. Our young people are not as steadfast, as committed. They're not doing as well. We talk about the fact that we haven't grounded our educational system to deliver persons who understand our society and are committed to the notion of identity in the context of Barbados. I want to suggest to you that everything that we have done here this morning actually repudiates that. What we have done here, what Spring Memorial has done here this morning in the context of this cultural extravaganza, suggests that there is a deep understanding that we have to be able to connect our young people to their identity. It suggests that we understand very fundamentally that the reform is not just a moment, that we ground truth it every single day in how we teach, in the sacrifice of our teachers. I want to say to you that what you saw on display were not just about costumes, not just about children looking pretty, but look think about the hours of work and sacrifice of teachers and still tell me that we don't have teachers who are about investing in our children. Those children that were on display, they understood what it is that they were doing. I heard very carefully as I listened that in the context of the development of the costume and the theme, that they made sure to recycle, that they used some of the material from 2019. I heard that they talked about that what they had on display represented that whole notion of cultural diversity as well. That there is therefore a deep understanding, like I said before, that our educational system has to be connected and ground truth and vested in our young people. And I hope that we can appreciate today that what you have done, Madam Principal, should be an exemplar for our entire educational system and for us as Barbadians. For us as Barbadians to feel encouraged that our educational system is not in peril. The second thing I want to be able to say this morning is that the season of emancipation, and we did our theme for our season of emancipation, we call it a reimagined season of emancipation. Again, not because it is new, but because we recognize that in the context of coming out of COVID-19, we recognize that in the context of Barbados as a new republic, that we needed to heighten our celebration of that season of emancipation. And therefore, we built a season of emancipation around three pillars. One, reflection. And that reflection is about the extent to which we can look at our colonial past and our history, to recognize it, to confront it, but also as well to celebrate it. Again, because very often, when we look at our colonial history, we can very much become mired in those things that defined us in the context of slavery and the struggle. But we don't often celebrate those things as well that have come to define us, that are about the resilience that Ambassador Commission spoke about. There is a heritage within this society of a Barbadians, of a Barbados, that understand what it is to struggle, understand what it is as well to be resilient, and understand what it is as well to come out on the other side and to forge a nation that today, in the context of 166 square miles, stands tall in the global arena. This is who we are as Barbadians. And therefore, the very fact, again, that the school was able to ground the cultural extravaganza in the context of the season of emancipation, again, is something that I believe that we shall also herald. I want to indicate that certainly one of my reflections is that the Division of Culture next year will be more intentional in its approach to ensure that other schools across Barbados also celebrate the season of emancipation in the way that we have done so today. Again, we ground truth it, and we make sure that it is embedded amongst our young people. The third thing I want to be able to say to you very frankly as well, as I always do when I come to speak here, and I'm very happy that I've been invited again, thank you so very much. And again, because I'm speaking primarily to young women. You know, one of the things that as young women, and particularly in the context of Springer, and I always like to have the very hard conversations. You know, we talk about Springer and we talk about the athletics and the extent to which Springer has excelled in the context of athletics, which is true. I boast, I'd be very fussy, 16 consecutive years. Come on now. But behind that, and I want to us to be very careful that, again, that we don't pigeonhole the school, yeah? Because it's not just about the athletics. Excellence is never accidental. There is intentionality, there is rigor, there is strategic leadership that happens in order to bring about that excellence. And I hope that the young women who are here that you recognize within the context of this school that this is what you have. Because we have within this nation a construct of who is better and who is least, the newer and the older. And I want to suggest to you that we have to dismantle that. We have to dismantle that. I am a proud Springer girl. Proud Springer girl. I sit within the policy arena amongst those who have been to the so-called older secondary school. Not better than, but equal to. Equal to. And this is something that we have always, and I say we have always demonstrated as Springer girls. You will find Springer girls in the halls of leadership throughout this island. And if you hear nothing else that I have said today, I want to say to you that that possibility exists for each and every one of you. The foundation that I have today, determination, the grit, respectfulness, those were things that were nurtured here in these halls and walkways at this school. That is open to each and every one of you. As I take my seat, because I am, as I said, going to be intentionally brief, I want to share with you, again, one of my favorite quotes. I think I would have shared it perhaps before, but don't worry, I'm going to share it again, because for me it is extremely important. It's a quote from Nelson Mandela, and it says, "Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, and fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There's nothing enlightened about shrinking so that others won't feel insecure around you. You were born, we were born, to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It is not just in some of us, it's in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we consciously give other people's permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others." Springer, members one of another, let our light continue to shine. Thank you.
Minister Chantel Monroe Knight, I want to thank you so very much, because all of these girls seated on the balconies and seated at the back of the hall here, they have a particularly youthful exemplar. They don't have to look too far to see what they can become and where they can reach. Thank you so very much. And here, thank you. And here at the Springer School, we are members one of another. We don't do it all by ourselves. So we therefore would like to give tokens of appreciation to those who have so ably assisted us in making this cultural extravaganza 2022 a possibility. And thank you. And I'm going to ask our principal to just hand these tokens of appreciation in her most gracious way. As I call your names, kindly come forward. The Honorable Ambassador, His Excellency, Dr. David Commisong, Ambassador to the Caribbean Community. Our very own, the Honorable Dr. Chantal Monroe Knight, Minister of Culture in the Ministry of in the Prime Minister's office. I'm so sorry. Mrs. Betty Aline Headley, another one of ours, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Education, Technological and Vocational Training. As I said, one of ours. Another one of ours from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Mrs. Sandra Gittins. One of ours of the Theological Persuasion, the Reverend Gillian Crawford. A member of the PTA, Mrs. Kemgun. One who cannot stay away, the Honorable Mr. Trevor Prescott. He can't stay from off of this compound. He's always here. The representative for the Most Honorable Bertram Hall. Mrs. Donovan. Okay. Mrs. Kim Butcher. Okay. Our own Mrs. Maureen Crawford Perry. Another one of ours. Mrs. Dana Rockmarie. Mrs. Cheryl Hunt. Okay. Mr. Neil Stanley.
Mr. Stanley, is he here? Creative director for the band?
I think he might be in the band room, unfortunately. Okay, so now it gives me great pleasure. Is Miss Atwell and Miss Moore? You see how our teachers are? They are probably with the children, getting them sorted out. Okay, now it gives me great pleasure to move the vote of thanks on this, our 2022 Cultural Extravaganza. We are so happy that you were able to come and to share this day with us, and your very presence is quite a blessing. I begin with our president of our PTA, Ms. Maya Daniel, who so willingly led us in the national anthem. Thank you, ma'am, for stepping up. But that's what we are Springer here about. We are solution finders on our feet. I want to thank the Reverend Gillian Crawford for bringing us and asking God's presence on these proceedings and in our lives. I thank Mrs. Maureen Crawford Perry, the Deputy Chairman of the Board of Management, for her warm welcome to this event here today. And we thank you, ma'am, also for gracing us with your presence. Sir, His Excellency David Commission, sir, you gave us an educational and historical address, pointing us to ask us, who are we? Who we really are. And I think all of us would have a night tonight of reflecting, and they might find more people at the archives now because of your address. Thank you so much, sir. Mr. Alexander, colleague, I would call you, I thank you so much for your encouraging discourse and those positive words with the drums, giving us practical examples of diversity in our schools, in our homes, and in our everyday life. Sir, I thank you so very much. I want to thank the Israel Level Foundation for their excellent presentation. Wherever they go, they truly represent. And the Honorable Trevor Prescott, please take our gracious thanks back. Thank you so very much. I want to thank those teachers who worked tirelessly, many nights, many days, many mornings, to produce the excellent display of costumes and creativity that you saw here today. I wish to thank Miss Alicia Moore, Miss Crystalline Miller, Miss Atwell, Miss Celie Oliver, Miss Mitchell, Miss Bell, and I would like to thank even our retired members, Mrs. Burke. Mrs. Burke, I want you to stand. I don't care, I want you to stand. This lady was up here all types of midnight. She is a former head of department. I thank you so very much, ma'am. I want to thank the Barbados Police Service Band and our very own former student and music teacher, Mrs. Abigail Williams, for truly inspiring us with the gifts that God has so willingly given to them and their talents they have shared. I thank, again, ma'am, well, she has left, the minister in the Prime Minister's office with the responsibility for culture, Dr. Chantel Monroe-Knight, for so encouraging our students, our young women, our leaders of tomorrow with such great examples, and especially that one about being intentional. We must go forward with intentionality. And ladies and gentlemen, third formers who have been so very patient and so very well behaved, I thank you. Second formers and fourth formers, we also thank you. Give yourselves a round of applause. And to all gathered here, thank you so much for your presence, for your well wishes. We thank the sponsors, especially Pine Hill Dairy and Sunshine Stacks, and those others. Mr. Bino, I did not see you, sir. Kenmore Bino? Kenmore Bino, I didn't see you, sir, but we want to thank you, but don't go away. We have a token for you. Yes, yes. Thank you so very much. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of this segment of Cultural Extravaganza 2022. Do continue to be safe, and I'm sure our gracious principal will lead you to some excellent refreshments. Thank you very much.